What's a ghetto princess like you doing in my neighborhood? Get on your knees before I make you. Officer Derek Manning shoves Willa Owens toward the burning asphalt. Her Harvard diploma slides from her briefcase into the gutter. Manning kicks it aside. That's where trash belongs. Willa's knees hit concrete. The impact tears her stockings. Manning plants his boot inches from her face, blocking her from standing. Stay down until I tell you something different. This is what happens when you forget your place. Neighbors peer through curtains. Phones record quietly. Manning grins. 15 years of this power trip, and he still loves breaking them. But his hand reaches for her identification. One name will change everything. One name will destroy his world completely. What happens when prejudice targets the wrong person? Share your thoughts below. Some mistakes cost everything. 6 hours earlier, Willa Owens stands before her bathroom mirror, adjusting the collar of a tailored Armani suit. A Harvard law degree hangs behind her, gold letters catching morning light. At 28, she has everything her parents dreamed of. Everything America promised could be hers. Her reflection stares back with quiet determination. 3 years at Morrison & Associates, 2 landmark civil rights cases, 1 promotion that made her the youngest partner track attorney in firm history. But mirrors don't lie about what others see first. Willa drives through Westfield County's crown jewel, Maple Heights, tree-lined streets where her mother once cleaned houses, where young Willa learned that success means more than money. It means earning the right to belong. The irony tastes bitter. She grew up here, invisible except when fetching lemonade for pool parties she wasn't invited to attend. Now she lives in the penthouse downtown, but these streets still whisper the same question. What is she doing here? Her BMW purrs past estates worth more than small countries. At red lights, security cameras track her movement. HOA patrol cars slow when they spot her license plate. The message stays consistent. You don't belong, but she does belong. Her client list reads like a Fortune 500 directory. Her legal brief on housing discrimination sits on the Supreme Court's docket. Her mother's house, purchased with Willa's signing bonus, stands 3 blocks from where she now drives. Excellence built her armor. Harvard forged her weapons. Success gave her keys to every door that once stayed locked. Maple Heights has changed since her childhood. Tech money brought Asian families into colonial mansions. Hollywood wealth installed Persian families behind iron gates. The old guard adapted, albeit grudgingly. Diversity became tolerable when it came with 8-figure bank accounts. Yet something remains unchanged. Something that no diploma can alter. Something that sees her BMW and assumes theft before achievement. Sees her face and thinks of threat before triumph. Willa's phone buzzes. Text from her mother. Drive safe, baby. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Patricia Owens learned survival in these same streets decades ago. I learned when to stay silent, when to smile, when to disappear. She built different armor for different wars. But Willa chose a different path. She chose visibility over safety, confrontation over accommodation. She refused to make herself smaller so others could feel larger. Her morning routine never varies. Coffee at Maple Heights Cafe, where baristas know her order but still check her credit card twice. Gas at Westfield Station, where attendants watch her pump like she might drive away without paying. Banking at First National, where tellers require 3 forms of ID for transactions others complete with a signature. Death by 1,000 tiny indignities. The price of existing while black in spaces designed to exclude her. Today feels different somehow. The usual stares linger longer. The usual whispers carry sharper edges. Something shifts in the neighborhood's rhythm, like animals sensing approaching storms. Willa adjusts her rearview mirror, catching sight of a police cruiser turning onto Maple Boulevard. Officer Derek Manning begins his morning patrol, scanning for whatever doesn't belong. Their paths will cross in exactly 18 minutes. Excellence doesn't protect against prejudice. It just makes the fall more public. Officer Derek Manning spots the BMW at 10:23 a.m. Black sedan, tinted windows, young black female driver navigating Maple Heights like she owns the place. Manning's instincts fire instantly. 15 years of street experience never lie. She doesn't belong here. The car moves too confidently through streets where median home prices hit 7 figures. No hesitation at intersections. No GPS consultation. This isn't her first time in the neighborhood. Manning's radio crackles. Unit 247, what's your location? Maple Boulevard. Got eyes on a possible situation developing. No situation exists yet, but Manning knows how to create them. The BMW signals properly, maintains legal speed limits, uses turn signals with mechanical precision. But guilt shows in other ways. The way she grips the steering wheel, the way she checks mirrors too frequently, the way criminals always overcompensate when they know they're being watched. Manning flips on his pursuit lights. The BMW pulls over immediately, too soon. Guilty conscience behavior. Through her rear window, Manning studies his target. Well-dressed, expensive jewelry glinting in the morning sun, probably drug money or stolen credit cards. These types always flash wealth they didn't earn. Manning approaches the driver's side, hand resting casually on his service weapon. Standard intimidation technique. Let them know who holds power here. Willa's window descends smoothly. License and registration, Manning commands. No pleasantries. No explanation for the stop. Authority doesn't explain itself. May I ask why you pulled me over, officer? Her voice carries education, private school diction trying to mask street origins. Manning recognizes the performance immediately. You match the description of someone we're looking for. The lie flows effortlessly. Manning's used it hundreds of times, generic enough to justify anything, specific enough to sound official. What description would that be? Too much confidence, too many questions. Manning's jaw tightens. Step out of the vehicle, now. Willa hesitates. Officer, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just driving to... Out, now. Don't make me repeat myself. Manning's voice drops to threat level, his favorite register, the tone that breaks resistance and builds compliance. Across the street, Mrs. Henderson emerges from her Tudor mansion to collect mail. Her morning routine includes monitoring neighborhood activity. Today's activity includes police enforcement against obvious criminal elements. Willa steps from her BMW. Designer suit, professional bearing, lawyer type trying to blend into respectable society. Turn around, hands on the vehicle. This is completely unnecessary. I haven't committed any... Hands on the car or you'll be face down on the pavement. Manning positions himself behind Willa, close enough that she feels his presence. Intimidation requires proximity. Fear demands personal space violation. What are you doing in this neighborhood? I have every right to drive on public streets. Wrong answer. Manning's patience evaporates. Don't get smart with me. People like you don't just cruise through Maple Heights unless you're up to something. The words hang in the morning air like poison. People like you. The phrase Manning uses when pretense no longer matters. 2 houses down, 17-year-old Josh Martinez records everything on his iPhone. TikTok generation instincts kick in when authority goes wrong. His thumb hovers over the live stream button. I'm going to search your vehicle for illegal substances. You need probable cause for... Your attitude is probable cause enough. Manning circles the BMW like a predator marking territory. Willa stands motionless, hands pressed against warm metal, dignity bleeding away in public view. This is Manning's specialty, the slow psychological breakdown, the systematic stripping of false confidence until reality emerges, until they remember their place in the natural order. Are you carrying anything I should know about? Drugs, weapons, stolen merchandise? Each question lands like an accusation. Each pause builds pressure. Manning reads body language like scripture, searching for tells that confirm his suspicions. But Willa's composure holds, too steady, too controlled. Something doesn't add up. Manning circles back to face Willa, satisfaction spreading across his features like poison. You know what I think? I think you're casing these houses, looking for easy targets, seeing what rich folks leave lying around. That's completely ridiculous. I'm an attorney with... Attorney? Manning's laughter cuts through morning air. Right. And I'm the Pope. You people always got stories. You people. The words land like a slap. Across Maple Boulevard, curtains twitch. The Hendersons, the Washingtons, the Carters, all watching from climate-controlled comfort. All pretending this isn't their problem. Josh Martinez adjusts his phone angle, finger hovering over TikTok's record button. His Instagram followers love drama. This looks like it's about to get viral. Manning steps closer, invading Willa's personal space. Empty your pockets. All of them. Officer, this is harassment. I've committed no crime. Resisting lawful orders is a crime. Want to add that to whatever else you're hiding? Willa's hands tremble slightly as she removes her phone, keys, and wallet. Items scatter across the BMW's hood like evidence at a crime scene. Manning picks up her iPhone, latest model, expensive case. Stolen? Absolutely not. I bought it last month at... Sure you did. Just like you bought this car, right? What's the real story? Boyfriend's ride? Sugar daddy financing your lifestyle? The racial stereotypes flow like venom. Each assumption cuts deeper than the last. Manning examines her keys. BMW fob, apartment key, office key marked Morrison and Associates. What's this? You clean offices at night? I work there. I'm a partner track attorney. Manning's eyes narrow. The lie detector in his brain screams fabrication. Partner track? At Morrison and Associates? His voice drips with disbelief. That's the most expensive law firm in the 3 counties. They don't hire people like you for anything but janitorial services. The insult hangs in the air, thick with privilege and prejudice. Down the street, Maria Santos pulls her Honda Civic to the curb. Investigative journalist instincts kick in when she spots police interaction in Westfield County's most exclusive neighborhood. Her camera emerges from the glove compartment. Manning opens Willa's wallet, fishing through credit cards and cash. Look at all this plastic. Probably maxed out or stolen. How much debt are you carrying, princess? Those are my personal financial... Nothing's personal when you're under investigation. Manning holds up a $100 bill. Where'd this come from? Drug money? Prostitution? Women like you don't earn honest hundreds. Willa's composure finally cracks. Women like me? You know exactly what I mean. The moment crystallizes into pure hatred. 15 years of unchecked power. 15 years of putting people in their place. 15 years of enjoying every second. Manning glances around Maple Heights. Audience gathering. Perfect. You want to play lawyer? Let's see how legal education handles real-world consequences. He grabs Willa's shoulder, spinning her away from the BMW. On your knees. Now. What? No, this is completely... On your knees, or I'll put you there myself. Manning's hand drops to his service weapon. Not a threat. A promise. Willa looks around desperately. Mrs. Henderson disappears behind her front door. Mr. Carter closes his curtains. The neighborhood abandons her to Manning's justice. Only Josh Martinez keeps recording. Please don't do this, Willa whispers. You should have thought about that before you decided to play criminal in my neighborhood. Manning places his hand on Willa's head, forcing her toward the pavement. Down. Stay down until I tell you different things. Willa's knees hit asphalt. The impact sends shockwaves through her body. Her designer suit absorbs heat from concrete that burns like shame. Manning towers above her, blocking escape routes. This is what happens when you forget your place. This is what happens when you think education makes you equal. The words echo across manicured lawns and luxury vehicles. Public humiliation performed for maximum psychological impact. Look around. See anyone coming to help? See anyone who thinks you belong here? This is reality. This is your truth. Manning kicks Willa's briefcase. Legal documents scatter across the street like confetti at a hate parade. Harvard Law, he reads from her diploma. Cute. Must be a good fake. How much did it cost you? Even her achievements become weapons against her. Josh Martinez's video captures everything. Real-time police brutality streamed live to social media. Comments flood in immediately. This is sick. Where is this happening? Someone call the news. Get this pig's badge number. 3 houses away, Maria Santos zooms her telephoto lens. Professional documentation of institutional racism in action. Manning savors his dominance. This is power. This is control. This is 15 years of experience dealing with people who don't know their place. Stay down. Don't move. Don't speak unless I ask you a direct question. He returns to Willa's scattered belongings, searching for the identification that will complete his investigation. The ID that will destroy his life. Manning reaches for Willa's driver's license with the confidence of 15 years' experience. One more ID check. One more criminal processed. One more successful enforcement action in Westfield County's ongoing war against undesirable elements. He flips open her wallet. California driver's license. Clean photo. Current registration. Manning reads the name aloud. Willa Patricia Owens. The words hang in the morning air like a death sentence. Owens. Manning's brain processes the surname slowly. Owens. Common enough name. Thousands of Owens across California. No reason for concern. But something tugs at his memory. Something familiar. Something dangerous. Patricia Owens. The middle name triggers recognition like a loaded gun firing. Manning's face drains of color. His hands begin trembling. The license slips from suddenly nerveless fingers. Attorney General Patricia Owens, California's top law enforcement official. The woman who controls every police department in the state. The woman who signs Manning's paychecks. The woman whose daughter he just forced to kneel on public pavement. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no, 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 no. Manning stumbles backward, panic spreading through his body like wildfire. 15 years of careful career building crumble in real time. He stares at Willa, still kneeling on scorching asphalt, and sees his future evaporating. Pension gone, career destroyed, criminal charges pending. Ma'am, please stand up. Please. His voice cracks with terror. The commanding authority vanishes, replaced by desperate pleading. Willa remains motionless, silent, letting the moment marinate in Manning's growing horror. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know who you were. But she does know who she is, and now he knows too. Manning's radio crackles with routine dispatcher chatter. Normal police business continues while his world implodes. Other officers handling traffic stops won't end their careers. Other cops who didn't just racially profile the Attorney General's daughter on live video. Josh Martinez's TikTok stream explodes with viewers. Comments flood faster than his phone can display. Holy shit, she's the AG's daughter. This cop is so fired. Karma is real. Racist pig got caught. 3,000 viewers become 6,000. 6,000 become 12,000. The video spreads through social media like digital wildfire. Manning kneels beside Willa, his authority completely shattered. Ms. Owens, please. This was a misunderstanding, a terrible mistake. Please stand up, please. The role reversal tastes like sweet poison. The man who demanded submission now begs for mercy. The officer who wielded racial power now grovels before his victim. Willa finally speaks. Her voice carries quiet steel. A mistake, Officer Manning? What kind of mistake involves forcing an innocent woman to kneel in the street? Manning reads his own badge number reflected in her eyes. Badge 1247. The number that will appear in tomorrow's news reports. The number that will end his career. I can explain everything. This was standard procedure. Routine investigation, nothing racial about it. But the words sound hollow even to him. 15 years of routine investigations that mysteriously targeted black drivers in white neighborhoods. 15 years of standard procedures that somehow only humiliated people who looked like Willa. Maria Santos captures everything through her telephoto lens. Tomorrow's front-page story writes itself. Police officer forces Attorney General's daughter to kneel during traffic stop. Manning's hand shakes as he offers to help Willa stand. The same hand that forced her down now trembles with desperate courtesy. Please don't let this destroy my career. I have kids. I have a mortgage. Willa brushes asphalt from her torn stockings. Her dignity returns like sunrise after a nightmare. You should have thought about that before you decided I didn't belong here. Power has found its voice. Maria Santos lowers her telephoto lens as Manning's patrol car disappears around the corner. 23 years of investigative journalism taught her to recognize watershed moments. This morning delivered one directly to her camera. The TikTok video has already gained 40,000 views. Josh Martinez's live stream captured everything in real time. But social media outrage fades quickly without sustained investigation. Without data. Without proof of systematic abuse. Maria specializes in proof. Her Honda Civic follows Willa's BMW to Morrison & Associates, where emergency damage control meetings will dominate the afternoon. But Maria heads downtown to the Westfield County Records Office, where public information requests unlock institutional secrets. By 2 p.m., she submits Freedom of Information Act demands for Officer Derek Manning's complete personnel file. Traffic stop database records. Complaint history. Use of force reports. Disciplinary actions. Every piece of paper documenting 15 years of law enforcement activity. California transparency laws require disclosure within 10 business days. But Manning's commanding officers need answers immediately. Phone calls flood the station. Local news stations demand interviews. The Attorney General's office maintains suspicious silence. Maria's preliminary research reveals disturbing patterns. Officer Derek Manning, badge 1247, assigned to Westfield County's District 7 since 2019. District 7 encompasses Maple Heights, Willowbrook Estates, and Thornfield Gardens, the county's 3 wealthiest neighborhoods. Combined median household income, $347,000. Demographics, 73% white, 12% Asian, 8% Hispanic, 4% Black, 3% other. Manning's traffic enforcement statistics tell a different story. Of 312 traffic stops conducted by Manning in the past 18 months, 278 involved drivers of color. In neighborhoods that are 73% white, Manning somehow found reasons to stop black drivers at rates exceeding 300% of their demographic presence. The mathematics of bias don't lie. Maria cross-references Manning's activity with citizen complaints filed through Westfield County's Internal Affairs Division. 31 separate complaints since 2019, all following similar patterns. Excessive force during routine stops, racial profiling allegations, inappropriate language, unlawful vehicle searches. Every complaint dismissed. Every investigation concluded with insufficient evidence. Every victim told their word didn't matter against police testimony. The system protects its own. At 4 p.m., Maria receives an anonymous email from Westfield Truth 2024 Proton Mail. Come, the subject line reads, "You want the real story?" The message contains a single attachment. Internal radio transcripts from Manning's patrol unit spanning 6 months. Dispatch communications that reveal the coded language of institutional racism. 10:23 a.m. Unit 247 checking unusual activity in Sector 7. 10:47 a.m. Unit 247 investigating demographic anomaly near Maple Heights. 11:15 a.m. Unit 247 standard quality of life enforcement action completed. Demographic anomaly. Quality of life enforcement. Bureaucratic euphemisms that mask racial targeting. But the real revelation comes buried in Manning's quarterly performance reviews, included in the anonymous leak. Westfield County Police Department operates under federal grant money tied to proactive community policing initiatives. Translation: more arrests generate more funding. Manning's statistics consistently exceed department averages for citations issued, vehicles searched, and arrests made in wealthy districts. His enforcement numbers directly correlate with departmental budget allocations from Washington. The financial incentive structure rewards bias. Maria's investigation widens. She discovers Manning isn't alone. 7 other officers assigned to affluent districts show identical statistical anomalies. Their traffic stops target people of color at rates defying demographic probability. Their complaint files overflow with racism allegations that disappear into administrative black holes. This isn't individual prejudice. This is systematic hunting. What experiences have you had with biased policing? Share your story in the comments below. Evening brings more evidence. Maria interviews 3 victims of Manning's previous stops, their stories forming a pattern of practiced humiliation. Jamal Washington, 34, software engineer, stopped while visiting his girlfriend in Willowbrook Estates, forced to lie prone on the sidewalk while Manning searched his Tesla. No citation issued, no explanation provided. Camila Rodriguez, 27, pediatric surgeon, pulled over after leaving Thornfield Country Club where she maintains membership. Manning accused her of vehicle theft until Country Club management confirmed her identity. 6 squad cars responded to the stolen vehicle call. David Kim, 41, tech executive, detained for 45 minutes while Manning called in his license plate as suspicious activity. Kim's children watched from their own driveway as police treated their father like a criminal for arriving home from work. Each victim thought they were alone. Each assumed they somehow deserved treatment. Each blamed themselves for triggering police attention. Pattern recognition reveals the truth. They weren't targeted for behavior. They were targeted for existence. Maria's database search expands to neighboring counties. San Bernardino, Orange County, Riverside. The same demographic disparities appear across Southern California's wealthiest enclaves. Police departments funded through federal grants that incentivize enforcement activity in areas where people of color don't belong. The problem extends far beyond Westfield County. At midnight, Maria's phone buzzes. Text message from unknown number. Stop digging or face consequences. Someone wants this investigation buried. Someone with enough access to obtain her personal phone number. Someone with enough power to make threats without fear of accountability. The threat confirms she's found something worth hiding. Maria forwards every document to secure cloud storage, copies every file to encrypted drives, shares every revelation with civil rights attorneys across the state. If something happens to her, the investigation continues. By dawn, her preliminary report runs 47 pages. Traffic statistics that prove systematic bias. Financial records that expose monetary incentives for racial targeting. Victim testimonies that document psychological trauma inflicted by badge-protected racism. The evidence mountain grows with each passing hour. But Manning represents just one officer in one department in one county. The corruption spreads like cancer through California's law enforcement infrastructure, metastasizing in communities where wealth meets prejudice. Maria's investigation reveals a truth more disturbing than individual racism. The system doesn't just tolerate bias, it rewards it. Federal grants flow to departments that demonstrate proactive policing. Performance reviews favor officers who generate statistics through aggressive enforcement. Promotion tracks advanced cops who keep undesirable elements out of desirable neighborhoods. Manning didn't create this system. He just perfected it. The Attorney General's office maintains official silence while conducting internal damage assessment. How many other Manning incidents remain undocumented? How many other victims suffer in silence? How many other officers operate under identical financial incentives that reward racial targeting? The answers threaten to topple more than individual careers. But one question haunts Maria's investigation. If Manning can treat the Attorney General's daughter this way, what does he do to people with no power at all? The system designed to protect and serve has become a machine that hunts and humiliates, and Manning is just the tip of a very deep, very dark iceberg. Truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep you bury it. Police Chief Robert Hayes receives the call at 6:47 a.m. Attorney General Patricia Owens' voice carries ice-cold authority through his cell phone. "Chief Hayes, we need to talk." "Yes, ma'am. I've already initiated a full investigation into yesterday's incident involving Officer Manning." "Investigation? My daughter was forced to kneel on public pavement while your officer hurled racial slurs. What exactly requires investigation?" Hayes switches to damage control mode. 28 years of police administration taught him crisis management protocols. Step 1. Minimize departmental liability. "Ma'am, Officer Manning followed standard traffic enforcement procedures. Any allegation of racial bias will be thoroughly examined through proper channels." The lie flows effortlessly. Manning's body camera mysteriously malfunctioned during the stop. Radio transcripts require careful editing. Witness statements need proper context. By 8 a.m., Westfield County Police Department activates Protocol 7. Institutional protection for officers facing misconduct allegations. The playbook hasn't failed in 15 years. Captain Lisa Turner enters Hayes' office with manila folders thick as phone books. Manning's personnel file, complete with revisions. Complaint history shows appropriate disciplinary actions taken when warranted. Performance reviews reflect exemplary service record. The revisions took all night. 31 citizen complaints reduced to 6 minor infractions. Racial bias allegations reclassified as communication misunderstandings. Use of force incidents downgraded to necessary crowd control measures. Digital evidence requires similar massage therapy. IT specialist Brandon Cole spends the morning editing radio transcripts, removing coded language that reveals systematic bias. Demographic anomaly becomes suspicious vehicle activity. Quality of life enforcement transforms into routine safety check. The department's version of truth emerges surgically clean. Police Union President David Coleman arrives at 10 a.m. with legal ammunition. 34 years of protecting officers from accountability shaped his strategy. Manning's got full union backing. Any discipline action triggers grievance procedures that could drag for 18 months. Meanwhile, media attention fades, public forgets, officer returns to duty. Coleman's war chest contains $2.3 million in legal defense funds. Westfield County taxpayers unknowingly finance the system that protects their oppressors. The union president reviews Manning's options: temporary administrative leave with full pay, followed by retraining and reassignment to different patrol districts. Internal affairs investigation concludes with insufficient evidence for disciplinary action. The officer returns to the street with a clean record. Standard operating procedure for police misconduct allegations. But this case carries unusual complications. The victim's mother controls California's entire law enforcement apparatus. Political pressure threatens to override normal protection protocols. Coleman crafts the department's official response. Officer Manning conducted a lawful traffic stop in response to citizen reports of suspicious activity in Westfield County's Maple Heights neighborhood. Department policy requires officers to investigate potential criminal behavior through appropriate enforcement actions. Any suggestion of racial bias contradicts Officer Manning's exemplary 15-year service record and this department's commitment to equal treatment under the law. The statement acknowledges nothing while denying everything. Meanwhile, internal emails coordinate the cover-up with military precision. From Chief Hayes to all department heads, re-Manning incident coordination. Talking points attached. No deviation from approved narrative. Refer all media inquiries to the Public Information Officer. Emphasize officer safety protocols and lawful enforcement procedures. From Captain Turner to Internal Affairs Division. Investigation parameters. Focus investigation on procedural compliance, not racial bias allegations. Citizen complaints lack corroborating evidence beyond social media speculation. From Union President Coleman to Legal Defense Team. Manning protection strategy. Prepare civil rights violation defense. The victim's privileged background undermines discrimination claims. Emphasize officers' constitutional authority during lawful stops. The email trail reveals institutional racism's infrastructure. Protocols designed to protect bias. Procedures that prioritize officer reputation over victim justice. Systems that transform accountability into administrative theater. At 2 p.m., the department releases Manning's official statement through union attorneys. Officer Manning regrets any misunderstanding that occurred during yesterday's traffic stop. He followed all department protocols while investigating reports of suspicious activity. Officer Manning looks forward to vindication through the internal investigation process and returning to his duty of protecting Westfield County residents. The statement contains zero admission of wrongdoing, zero acknowledgement of racial bias, zero recognition that forcing citizens to kneel on public pavement might constitute excessive force. But social media refuses cooperation with institutional denial. Josh Martinez's TikTok video reaches 2.8 million views. Maria Santos's preliminary investigation findings spread across Twitter like wildfire. Community activists organize protests outside police headquarters. Public pressure builds faster than departmental damage control can contain. Hayes convenes an emergency leadership meeting at 4 p.m. The agenda focuses on protecting Manning while maintaining plausible deniability about systematic bias. Individual officers' actions don't reflect department culture, Turner suggests. Isolated incidents involving miscommunication, Coleman adds. The victim's family status creates political complications, Hayes concludes. None of them acknowledge the obvious. Manning represents their system working exactly as designed. Racial targeting disguised as law enforcement. Bias protection masquerading as due process. Institutional racism operating under legal cover. The real enemy isn't one officer. It's the machine that creates, protects, and rewards officers like Manning. Willa stares at her phone screen, watching her reputation disintegrate in real time. 72 hours since Manning forced her to kneel, and the narrative has shifted from police brutality to privileged victim playing the race card. Conservative media outlets craft the counter-story. Attorney General's daughter claims racism during routine traffic stop. Headlines transform victim into perpetrator, discrimination into manipulation. Fox News brings on retired police captain Mike Sullivan. This young woman clearly resisted lawful orders, forcing Officer Manning to take appropriate action. Now she's crying racism because she didn't get special treatment. Comment sections explode with predictable hatred. She got what she deserved for acting entitled. Typical race baiting from liberal elite. If she just complied, nothing would have happened. Each comment cuts deeper than Manning's original humiliation. Morrison and Associates partners convene emergency meetings about Willa's public relations problem. Senior partner James Morrison delivers the verdict. Perhaps you should consider taking extended leave until this situation resolves. Client confidence requires stability. Translation: You're too controversial for our white clientele. 3 major clients request different representation within 48 hours. The Henderson family, whose housing discrimination case Willa spent 18 months developing, switches to another firm for personal reasons. Professional isolation follows social crucifixion. Colleagues offer hollow support while avoiding association. Lunch invitations disappear. Conference calls exclude her input. The same legal community that celebrated her Harvard achievements now treats her like toxic waste. Willa's mother calls every morning, voice thick with worry. "Baby, maybe it's time to step back. Let someone else fight this battle." Patricia Owens built her career avoiding confrontation, surviving through strategic silence. She watches her daughter face consequences she herself escaped through calculated discretion. But Willa chose visibility over safety. Now she pays the price. Threatening phone calls begin Tuesday evening. Anonymous voices promising violence if she doesn't shut her mouth and disappear. Someone vandalizes her car with racial slurs. Fear becomes a constant companion. Sleep brings nightmares where Manning's face morphs into every person who questioned her right to exist in spaces designed for others. Where Harvard degrees burn while hands force her back to her knees. Willa questions everything. Did she overreact? Was Manning's behavior standard procedure? Are thousands of online commenters correct about her victim complex? The gaslighting works exactly as intended. Thursday brings the cruelest blow. Harvard Law Review withdraws invitation for her to speak at their Civil Rights Symposium. The dean explains, "Given recent controversies, we feel it's best to postpone your participation until matters resolve." Even her alma mater abandons her. Have you ever felt like the system was rigged against you? That one moment can destroy everything you've built. Willa sits in her empty office, staring at boxes packed for temporary leave. 15 years of education, 3 years building a legal reputation, countless hours proving she belongs, all reduced to viral video comments about knowing her place. The system doesn't just protect bad officers, it punishes victims. It transforms accountability into controversy, justice into politics, truth into opinion. Manning keeps his badge while she loses her career. He maintains union protection while she faces professional exile. The racist stays employed while his victim becomes unemployable. This is how institutional bias wins. Not through dramatic confrontation, but through systematic punishment of anyone who dares challenge the machine. But sometimes the only choice is continuing to fight, even when the entire world demands surrender. Maria Santos publishes her investigation findings Friday morning. The Manning Files, how one officer's bias reveals systematic racism in Westfield County, spreads across social media like wildfire. The data speaks louder than denial. Within hours, victims emerge from silence. Stories that mirror Willa's humiliation with haunting precision. Names and faces joining a chorus that refuses to stay quiet. Dr. Jamal Washington, software engineer, shares his experience on Twitter. "Manning forced me prone on the sidewalk while searching my Tesla. My girlfriend watched from her doorway. He called it standard procedure." The tweet generates 47,000 retweets in 6 hours. Pediatric surgeon Dr. Camila Rodriguez posts on Instagram, "Manning accused me of stealing my own car outside Thornfield Country Club. 6 squad cars responded to his vehicle theft call. I've been a member there for 3 years." Her medical colleagues amplify the story across professional networks. Tech executive David Kim uploads security footage showing Manning detaining him in his own driveway for 45 minutes. "My children watch the police treat their father like a criminal for coming home from work." The video contradicts every police department talking point about lawful enforcement procedures. By evening, 47 victims contacted Maria Santos directly. Identical treatment patterns, identical humiliation tactics, identical dismissal when they filed complaints. The mathematics of bias become undeniable. Maria's database reveals statistical impossibilities. Manning targeting black drivers at 300% above demographic presence, Asian drivers at 280% above population ratios, Hispanic drivers at 245% above neighborhood demographics. No mathematical model explains these numbers through random enforcement. Only systematic hunting produces such results. Community leaders organize rapidly. Reverend Michael Thompson of First Baptist convenes an emergency meeting at his church. Westfield NAACP chapter mobilizes legal resources. Asian Pacific Islander Coalition demands federal investigation. For the first time, victims realize they weren't alone.
"I thought it was my fault," whispers Maria Elena Vasquez, 34, stopped while visiting her sister in Willowbrook Estates. "I thought I somehow looked suspicious." "Me too," admits Jennifer Chang, 29, detained outside her own yoga studio in Maple Heights. "I blamed myself for not having proper identification ready." Shame transforms into solidarity. Isolation becomes a coalition. Individual trauma gains collective voice. The community discovers power in shared truth. Local businesses withdraw support from police charity events. Maple Heights HOA demands investigation into biased enforcement in their neighborhood. 3 city council members call for Manning's termination and systematic police reform. Public pressure builds momentum that institutional protection can't contain. Social media campaigns trend nationally. #justice. For Willa becomes #pattern of abuse becomes #systemic reform. Celebrity supporters amplify victim voices. National civil rights organizations offer legal assistance. Media attention shifts from individual controversy to institutional investigation. CNN interviews victims. MSNBC analyzes traffic stop data. Even Fox News struggles to defend statistically impossible enforcement patterns. Manning's defenders shrink as evidence mountains grow. Friday evening brings the breakthrough moment. Attorney General Patricia Owens breaks official silence. Her statement lacks maternal emotion but carries prosecutorial steel. California Department of Justice will conduct a comprehensive investigation into Westfield County Police Department practices. Federal civil rights violations will be pursued to the fullest extent of law. The state's top law enforcement official just declared war on systematic racism. Individual voices became collective truth. Data transformed denial into accountability. Community solidarity overwhelmed institutional protection. The pattern has become undeniable. Maria Santos follows the money trail deeper than anyone expected. Her Freedom of Information Act requests uncover financial documents that transform Manning's racism from individual prejudice into profitable enterprise. The numbers tell a story more disturbing than personal bias. Westfield County Police Department receives $2.3 million annually through federal community safety grants. Funding tied directly to proactive enforcement metrics in high-crime areas. The grant application specifically targets wealthy neighborhoods experiencing demographic shifts. Translation: federal taxpayers fund racial profiling programs. Maria discovers the grant structure rewards departments based on citation volumes, arrest numbers, and community safety indicators. More stops generate more funding. More arrests increase budget allocations. More enforcement activity unlocks bonus payments. Manning's statistics consistently exceed department averages for citations issued, 312 stops in 18 months, versus departmental average of 127 stops. His arrest-to-stop ratio runs 34% higher than colleagues. His citation revenue generation tops all officers in District 7. The department's highest performer is their most profitable racist. Internal budget documents reveal Manning's enforcement activity generated $847,000 in citation revenue during fiscal year 2023. His vehicle searches resulted in $312,000 worth of asset forfeitures. His arrest statistics qualified Westfield County for maximum federal grant disbursements. Manning isn't just a racist cop, he's a revenue generator. But the corruption runs deeper than individual performance metrics. Maria's investigation uncovers training materials that institutionalize bias as policy. The Advanced Community Policing Manual contains sections on demographic profiling techniques and socioeconomic threat assessment. Page 47 instructs officers, individuals whose appearance, vehicle, or behavior patterns deviate from neighborhood norms require enhanced scrutiny to maintain community safety standards. Page 52 defines threat indicators. Expensive vehicles operated by individuals whose demographic profile suggests income inconsistent with legitimate employment. Page 71 outlines search procedures. Thorough vehicle inspection ensures contraband detection while demonstrating department commitment to proactive enforcement. The manual transforms racism into official police procedure. Financial audit reveals the profit-sharing structure that motivates bias. Officers generating high citation revenue receive performance bonuses averaging $4,700 annually. Departments exceeding federal grant metrics qualify for equipment upgrades worth millions. Union contracts protect bonus structures while shielding officers from bias complaints. Police Union President David Coleman negotiated language requiring statistical proof of discriminatory intent for disciplinary action. Nearly impossible standard when officers follow training manual procedures. The system designs accountability out of existence. Maria's banking investigation discovers Coleman's conflict of interest that explains union protection for biased enforcement. His wife, Sarah Coleman, owns 23% equity stake in Westfield Security Consulting. The private firm contracted to provide department training materials. The same training materials that teach demographic profiling generate $180,000 annually for Coleman's household. Union protection of racist training directly enriches union leadership. Manning follows procedures that enrich his union president while generating revenue for his department. Individual racism becomes an institutional profit center. The money trail connects federal grants to private training companies to union protection to officer incentives. A closed loop that transforms bias into a business model. But Maria discovers the smoking gun buried in Westfield County budget projections. Next fiscal year's proposed Enhanced Enforcement Initiative expands demographic profiling to surrounding counties. The pilot program's success in generating federal funding recommends statewide implementation. Manning's treatment of Willa represents standard operating procedure scheduled for export across California. The investigation reveals systematic corruption disguised as law enforcement innovation. Federal money funding, racial targeting. Training companies profiting from institutionalized bias. Union leaders protecting revenue streams generated through constitutional violations. This isn't isolated misconduct. It's organized crime operating under government sanction. Monday morning brings subpoenas for financial records from the State Attorney General's office. Federal investigators request budget documentation. IRS opens inquiry into consulting company tax filings. The profitable machine Manning served is about to face an audit from every possible angle. Sacramento's state capitol buzzes with media attention as the California Department of Justice convenes public hearing on Westfield County police practices. Attorney General Patricia Owens presides with prosecutorial precision over Manning's fate. The hearing room fills beyond capacity. Victims, activists, union representatives create electric tension. 3 weeks of investigation condensed into public accountability. Federal Civil Rights Division Attorney Jennifer Walsh presents Opening Evidence. Statistical analysis reveals systematic targeting of minority drivers exceeding demographic probability by 300%. Clear constitutional violations requiring federal intervention. 47 victims testify consecutively. Each story mirrors identical humiliation. Each experience follows Manning's practiced routine. Overwhelming evidence of systematic abuse. Dr. Jamal Washington describes forced prostration on the sidewalk. Dr. Camila Rodriguez recounts vehicle theft accusations outside her country club. David Kim shows detention footage from his own driveway. The pattern becomes undeniable. Manning takes the stand with union representation. His defense crumbles under cross-examination. Officer Manning, did you force Ms. Owens to kneel on the public pavement? I followed standard detention procedures during lawful investigation. Standard procedures require citizens to kneel on burning asphalt. Suspect compliance ensures officer safety. Ms. Owens was a suspect of what crime exactly? Manning's silence speaks volumes. Police Chief Robert Hayes offers department response. Officer Manning followed established protocols during routine investigation. Any racial bias suggestion contradicts his exemplary service record. Maria Santos presents training manual evidence destroying Hayes's credibility. Page 47's demographic profiling techniques contradicts every denial about systematic bias. Union President David Coleman defends through a prepared statement. Officer Manning served with distinction for 15 years. This hearing represents politically motivated persecution undermining law enforcement authority. Coleman's wife's financial stake in the training company remains unmentioned. Federal investigators present financial evidence linking bias enforcement to profit incentives. Grant structures rewarding racial targeting. Bonus systems incentivizing constitutional violations. Training contracts enriching union leadership through discrimination. Corruption spans federal funding to local implementation. Attorney General Owens delivers final assessment with clinical precision. Evidence demonstrates systematic civil rights violations requiring immediate federal intervention. This department's practices violate constitutional protections while endangering community trust. Her prosecutorial voice carries legal authority, not maternal emotion. Federal Civil Rights Division announces consent decree requiring comprehensive reform. Justice Department assumes oversight of Westfield County operations. Officers must complete federal bias training. Traffic data requires monthly federal review. Manning faces immediate termination. Federal criminal charges pending. Pension forfeited. Law enforcement certification revoked permanently. The system that protected him abandons him completely. Individual accountability represents only the beginning of institutional transformation. 43 California departments face federal investigation for similar patterns. Training companies lose contracts. Grant structures undergo revision. Manning's fall triggers systematic change statewide. Public accountability found its voice. Institutional racism met its match. 6 months later, Westfield County Police Department operates under federal oversight. New protocols require bias reporting systems. Traffic stop data undergoes monthly civil rights review. Officer training emphasizes constitutional protections over demographic profiling. Derek Manning serves 18 months in federal prison for civil rights violations. His law enforcement certification remains permanently revoked. Pension forfeited. Career destroyed. But individual justice represents broader transformation. 43 California police departments face federal investigation following Manning's case. Training companies specializing in demographic profiling lose government contracts. Federal grant structures undergo complete revision to eliminate bias incentives. Union President David Coleman resigns amid corruption charges. His wife's consulting firm closes under federal investigation. The profit pipeline connecting bias to bonuses gets permanently severed. Willa returns to Morrison & Associates as senior partner, specializing in police accountability cases. Harvard Law Review invites her as keynote speaker on institutional racism and legal reform. Maria Santos receives Pulitzer Prize for investigative journalism exposing systematic bias in California law enforcement. The victims who testified find their voices amplified across national civil rights movements. Their courage transformed individual trauma into collective power. Prejudice never expects to meet power, but when it does, the collision reshapes everything. Like this video if you believe accountability matters. Subscribe for more stories where evidence defeats bias. Share your thoughts. How do we make discrimination too expensive to practice? Some mistakes reveal exactly who you are. Others reveal who you can become.
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.